All right, so here is the question. We want 7/18 more than 3/4. All right, so we have this phrase right here. 7/18 more than 3/4 is how much? Well, we have a multiple choice question here, and let's take a look at our answers. So the first choice, A, is a mixed number fraction, so that's 1 and 5/36. B is 12/19. C is 8, and D is 7/5. All right, so let's go ahead and get into all this right now. So here is our problem. And the first thing that we need to do is interpret what this thing is saying. So we have 7/18. We want 7/18 more than 3/4. All right, now how do we figure out what this problem is saying? Well, one thing that is a fantastic little technique that you should use in all math problems when you're confused and you're like, hey, Mr. YouTube Math Man, I'm just generally confused. I have no idea what this problem is even saying. Well, two things you can do. One, we have a multiple choice question. So if you're not even sure and you're taking a math exam and you encounter a question like this and you're like, well, I'm just going to take a guess. Well, that is not a bad thing. Just take a guess unless you're going to get penalized for the wrong answer. So never ever leave a math question blank. Okay, so hopefully you took a guess, but of course this is wrong. So the only way to know how to do this problem is to understand the math. So this technique that you want to keep in mind is that we have fractions here. So sometimes if you replace, fractions or numbers that are a little bit more complicated with easier numbers and then think about what that means, it's generally a path to figuring out the solution. So for example, instead of 7/18 more than 3/4, what about 3 more than 1? Or 3 more than 1, what does that mean? 3 more than 1. Well, if I have 1 and then I have 3 more, it looks like we want to add 3 to 1, right? So we're just basically adding these two numbers. And because we don't have any negative numbers here, or we're not dealing with a subtraction situation, it looks like all we need to do is simply add these fractions, and that is exactly what we need to do in order to figure this problem out. So what is 7/18 more than 3/4? Again, if you're confused with this type of problem, always just replace these numbers, these fraction numbers, with something easier. And this is a great technique, again, with like algebra problems or other problems. Always try to see if you can construct a simpler version of the problem to kind of model what's going on. Think about how to solve that and then just translate that logic over to your actual problem, right? So like, what is 3 more than 1? What is $3 more than $1? Well, maybe that's like $4, right? Okay, so basically here we are adding these two fractions, 7/18 plus 3/4. And so now this becomes a fraction addition problem. So we're not using our calculator here, so we're going to have to figure out what 3/4 plus 7/18 is equal to. So here we have 3/4 plus 7/18, but 7/18 more than 3/4 is 3/4 plus 7/18, right? So this is how we have to interpret this phrase, and double, triple check yourself, right? Write it in different ways. Just have the confidence that you are interpreting these problems. But one thing that you learn in mathematics is how to translate verbal phrases into mathematical statements. This is really, really critical. So words like more than, or the difference of, or the quotient, the product, I'm kind of using fancy math terms here, but you need to understand these things. But anyways, I think most people figure this out, that we have to add these fractions. All right, so our problem really is 3/4 plus 7/18. And now this is an opportunity for you to show off your fraction skills. Okay, so how do we add fractions? Well, we cannot add fractions or subtract fractions unless the denominators are the same. Okay, so you can see here I'm figuring out the lowest common denominator. So we're going to have to change these fractions, these respective fractions. We're going to have to write them in such a way where they have the same denominator. In other words, 4 and 18, where we have a denominator that has something in common with both 4 and 18, but we want the lowest number that is in common with 4 and 18. Now, technically, that's called the lowest common multiple, but really, we think of that as the lowest common denominator, right? So this is how we want to approach this problem. is we need to figure out the LCD, and then we need to rewrite these fractions such that the respective denominators have the LCD. Now you can see I have some work here, and that work is how you actually find the lowest common denominator. Now some of you might be saying, oh, I got 4, I got 18. You might be kind of doing some number crunching in your brain. Remember, we're not using our calculator, but you could probably have determined that the LCD here is 36. So 36 is the lowest number that both of these numbers can divide into, right? So we can do 36 divided by 18 is 2 without a remainder, and then 4 times 9 is 36, so 36 divided by 4 is 9. So that is another way to kind of think of the LCD, the lowest number that both of these numbers can go into, but that's only a way to think about the number. It's not the procedure on how to find the LCD. Now, some of you might be saying, hey, Mr. YouTube Math Man, you're rambling too much about the LCD. I'm a professional expert. Well, if that's the case, if I gave you like 408, 3 over 408 plus 7 over 182, could you find the LCD? Well, at this point, a lot of people would be like, all right, well, I'm unsubscribing. I'm going to leave your video right now, Mr. YouTube Math Man. I don't want to do that problem, and I don't blame you. But if you had to do this problem, you got to understand the procedure, how to find LCD. And this is a big, big topic, not only in arithmetic, but in algebra. All right, so I'm just going to cover it real fast, and then we'll continue on here. But to find the LCD, now we already know it's 36, right? So we already talked about that. But what you want to do as a procedure, okay, is the denominators, you want to prime factor the numbers in the denominators, all right, each respective denominator. So 4 is the same thing as 2 times 2, so we can express 4 as the prime factors as 2 squared. So we always want to express this in terms of a power. Its prime factors is the same thing as 2 squared. All right, so 18 is what? Well, we can be like, all right, that's 9 times 2, and then 9 is 3 times 3 because 9 is not a prime factor. So 3 times 3, these numbers are prime, so we can think of 18 as 3 squared times 2 to the first. Remember, we want all the prime factors of our denominator. So now we have 2 to the first times 3 squared, that is 18. All right, so now we can easily identify the LCD. Okay, now the way this works is you're going to take the highest power. Well, let me kind of back up here. You need to have each of the numbers of these prime factors represented in the LCD as a product. Okay, so in other words, we have a 2, we have another 2 over here, we have a 3. So we're going to need 2 and 3 in our LCD. We're going to multiply them together. But some of you might be saying, well, do we multiply 2 squared, 2 to the first, and 3 squared? No, 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 because we have two powers of 2's here, right? So 2 squared and 2 to the first. Which one do we use? Do we use both? Well, no, okay, you only use the highest power. So this is the highest power, 2 squared. So we use this in our LCD. So that's going to be 2 squared, but we need our 3 squared as well because we need all these prime factors represented. So 2 squared is what? Well, that's 4. 3 squared is what? That's 9. 4 times 9 is 36. This is how you find the LCD. Now, again, a lot of people are not going to do that because they can kind of just determine what the LCD is because these are basic problems. But as the denominators get more challenging, you need to understand this procedure, which means you need to understand prime factoring and, of course, how to build your LCD. Really, really important stuff. But all right, so now that we know the LCD is 36, what do we need to do? Well, we need to change each of these denominators such that the denominators are 36. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Are you struggling in math because of confusing lessons? Maybe the teacher's not showing you all the steps you need or things are happening too fast. Well, there is a better way. So come on over to my math help program at tcmathacademy.com. There you'll find clear step-by-step instruction by me that will definitely make a huge difference in your math success. So make sure to check out all my courses by following the links in the description. All right, so now that we know that our lowest common denominator is 36, we need to change each denominator such that it's 36. All right, so how do we change a 4 to a 36? Easy, we need to multiply it by 9. So that means we need to multiply the numerator by 9 as well. Remember when we're rewriting equivalent fractions, whatever adjustments we need to make has to be the same for both the numerator and denominator. So 9 times 4 is 36, and 9 times 3 is 27, so we have 27 over 36. If you saw this fraction walking down the street, you'd be like, hey, I can simplify you. I can reduce you down to 3/4, right? So they are the same fractions, but this fraction has 36 as its denominator. Okay, so how do we change an 18 to a 36? We're going to multiply by 2, so we're going to multiply the numerator by 2. So we're going to end up with 14 over 36. And now we can actually add these fractions because the denominators are the same. So what you do here is add the respective numerator. So 27 plus 14 is 41 over 36. Now, if some of you got to this point, that is fantastic. Matter of fact, I would give you a happy face, but here is a problem. Okay, this 41 over 36 was not a choice. Let's go back over here to the question on our exam, and this can happen. You're like, all right, I'm looking for my answer here. I don't see it. I don't see it. What's going on? Did I do this wrong? No, 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 no. What you have to do is look at the answer and be like, well, maybe this is the correct answer. It's just in a different form, and that happens all the time in math. All right, so we're going to have to take the next step here. So 41 over 36 is correct, but that is an improper fraction, right? So in other words, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So we could change this to a mixed number fraction. And how do we do that? Well, we just do some old school basic division, paper and pencil kind of stuff. So we're going to take 41 and divide it by 36. So 36 goes into 41 one time, right? So 1 times 36 is 36. We're going to subtract. And 36, we're going to subtract 36 from 41. We get 5. 36 can't go into 5, so we have a remainder of 5. But this is not the way we write it. Okay, so 41 divided by 36, again, that's equal to the fraction 41 over 36 is 1. Now the remainder is going to be, what we're going to do is going to write 1. We're going to put that right there. And then we're going to put our remainder. And then our denominator is going to be 36. Okay, so 1 and 5 over 36. Now this is a mixed number fraction, and if I said, hey, write this as an improper fraction, what you would do is you take 36 times 1 is 36 plus 5 is 41 over 36. So you got to know how to go from a mixed number fraction to an improper fraction and an improper fraction to a mixed number fraction. Again, we're talking about basic math stuff here, and as I indicated, no calculators were allowed on this little exercise, okay, other than the one right between your ears, your little supercomputer right here. And that's far better than any artificial intelligence. Matter of fact, that's actual intelligence. But here's the deal. Unless you practice all the skills that you've learned, and typically we're not going to be practicing these skills with paper and pencil because we're constantly on, our calculators, our computers, our phones, and they're great tools. And don't get me wrong, I love technology. I couldn't reach you without technology, but mathematics is far more than just breaking out your calculator. You got to understand these concepts, especially things like the LCD, because you're not going to be able to use your calculator in like algebra problems, right? Where there's variables and whatnot. You're just simply going to have to know the material. All right, so hopefully this little video helped you out, and if that's the case, don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your math adventures. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.